Okay. Okay. Wow. 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 What do I have to say about Smackdown tonight? There is just so many convolution in this company and this show. And what are we now? What, a week away from WrestleMania? We're a week away from WrestleMania, right? Dude, this show, after what I saw tonight, I have no idea what to say about these people in this fucking company. Now, are there some bright spots to this show? Yes. Is there some repetitiveness to this show? Yes. Was there complete, utter bullshit that I can't even have a good reason and that makes no sense about this show regarding the WrestleMania? Yes. So, where do you even begin here of stuff you saw from last week, which now doesn't make a lot of sense? And WWE is just pulling, I guess they're just pulling all the chips out with this thing, especially we're only, a week and a half away from Mania, and I'm seeing what's going on tonight, and just stuff that doesn't make sense. And we're going to get into probably the worst part of this fucking show, because I got a lot to say about this shit, okay? This is just insane to me now. Okay? This is like insanity. I would say, I've said this before about, I usually say this about Monday Night Raw, because Monday Night Raw is shit, but what have I said before? What is the definition of insanity? When you do the same thing over and over, expecting shit to change. Someone's told me that once. I shot him. Well, this isn't Far Cry 3, but you see where I'm going with this. But let's begin off with the show first. On Cassville, Connecticut. I've never even heard of this town, to be honest, but it's in Connecticut. But New Day came out as they were going to address the whole Kofi situation, and they've known each other for over 5 years in this team, and we went from New Day sucks to New Day rocks. And they were talking about the experience they had and everything they've done in the company and stuff. But Big E talked about all the obstacles, everything being in Kofi's way. The deck is just stacked against him right now, and they even considered walking away and stuff. And Wood says that the hardest part of this, for him and Big E, is watching how Kofi has been treated, for a person that's been here for over 11 years in this company, and that given what he deserves. And that, the power of positivity is not just a word, but, they don't quit. This man does not quit, okay? And he never will. But they needed answers, and they weren't going to leave without the answers. The only way they could get it was through Vince McMahon, and they were waiting in the ring all night until he showed up. But Vince came out then, and he's just pretty much, he was about to say something, but next thing you know, Daniel Bryan came up, and he told Vince, you need to stop it. The New Day have fragile egos. Let them quit. Kofi's a B-plus player. We can always make up another New Day, okay? All you gotta do is just bring up 3 other guys from NXT and have them throw waffles around, and there you go, okay? But Kofi does not deserve anything, okay? And pretty much he told Vince not to listen to them and these parasites in the crowd and everything. But Wood said, you know what, you've become everything you've hated. You were once us. You're a hypocrite. That's pretty much what you are now. But Vince told everybody to shut up. And he says, you're gonna quit, huh? Quit? Which I swear Vince sounded like a duck. He quacked like a duck, I think. He really did sound like a duck. He kind of quacked like quack quack. Well, he did something like that when yelling at the New Day. And, he told Kofi that, we'd always be a B-plus player and everything. But then talked about them being a B-plus tag team. And he just started, just making a whole bunch of noises, which didn't make any sense. But then, what do we do again this week? We do another gauntlet match. A tag team gauntlet match, though. And everything. And if Big E and Woods win, Kofi Kingston will finally go to WrestleMania, okay? And he's not gonna get in those zones, so that's what's gonna happen. And okay, why do we need to see another gauntlet match this week for Kofi to get into Mania? Like, dude, how many gauntlet matches have we seen under in the past month? I know for Elimination Chamber, but we just went through another gauntlet match with Kofi going against everybody. But now we gotta have Biggie and Woods going against everybody, which is just deja vu now, except it's a tag team thing. Do we really need to see another gauntlet match? Not really. And because we're just, like I said, we're just doing everything now to stack the deck against Kofi to see if he's even going to make it to WrestleMania now at this point, okay? Because couldn't we just have him won last week instead of doing another one of these? But I will say this. Does this feel overbooked in a way? Yeah, it does. Because I said, why do we need to see another gauntlet match? We just saw a gauntlet match next week, so I expected something different. And I'm going to get into the gauntlet match later on, but still, did we need to see another gauntlet match this week? Not really. I don't think we did, but you know, we're just gonna go with it for some reason, and that's what's gonna happen. So there you go. We have another gauntlet match. So, you know, we're gonna see that tonight, so watch out for that. We then went to Becky Lynch, and oh god, that's gonna be a long thing on this one. What I'm about to say. Becky came out. Well, not Becky came out. Becky was interviewed in the back, and you know, she questioned about Charlotte bringing anything to the table for this triple threat match. And Charlotte, you know, because you know Charlotte was already brought in, but Charlotte pretty much says, you know, she's gonna bring something to the table, and that, you know, she's gonna show how deserving the crowd that the crowd's gonna think that. And what can I say from this? Because you know, we've heard enough stuff from Charlotte and Becky, but this is where I did not understand, and maybe I was late to the ball game on this, or I didn't get a notice. But Charlotte versus Asuka for the Smackdown Women's title. This is the title on the line, okay? First off, this was a really great match. Okay, this was. We know these two can go against each other very well, and they almost went 20 minutes out there, and it was great. Okay, it was really great. But what gets me, which this just blew my freaking mind, that people literally, like my neighbor even told me, and like people I know, friends that watch the show, literally had to text and message me saying that this was just bullshit to happen. Okay, because Charlotte won the SmackDown Women's Championship. And I'm not crapping on the match or anything. The match was really good, okay? But when Charlotte put the figure 8 in, and first off, Asuka tapped out. Okay, she tapped out. And his thing, I'm thinking, like, okay, maybe Becky's going to interfere or something. I don't think Ronda, but I was kind of certain Becky was going to interfere and, you know, just kind of cost her the title. Because why was this even a title match in the begin with? What was the need for this title match? Because his thing, that doesn't make sense to me. Asuka had no opponent going into WrestleMania, right? There was supposed to be a fatal 4-way last time I remember that was supposed to happen tonight between Naomi, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, and Carmella. But I guess WWE was just like, fuck that idea. Fuck this whole idea. We're going to put the belt on Charlotte and bring it into WrestleMania in the main event. Okay? It's like this. WWE is just pulling like all the stops in this whole thing. They are pulling all the stops. Because I'm sitting there looking like, wait. Asuka tapped out. Her title reign wasn't even really crap now when she got it. And I can tell you the whole title reign. This is how it went. Because even somebody put this down. And it just makes no sense. What did she do? Wins at the TLC, right? And we're all good, because first off, Asuka was never the same after WrestleMania last year, okay? Her whole booking turned into crap, all right? And it was really bad for her. But we all saw a little bit of glimmer of hope when she won the championship. What happens? Beats Naomi on SmackDown, beats Becky at the Royal Rumble, which now I question that now, is off for TV for almost a month, comes back on TV, loses to Mandy Rose for some odd reason, not on TV again, beats Mandy Rose at Fastlane, I believe, and then she had another match against Deville. She disappears again, and now she loses the title a week before WrestleMania. They buried Asuka, okay? There's no ifs, ands, buts about this, okay? This was complete, unadulterated bullshit, and everybody knows it. And I'm sure a lot of people are really pissed to what they saw too, but this just literally makes no freaking sense. You can see Asuka just looked, you even look at it, she just very pissed, dejected really, and Charlotte's even celebrating with the title, going back Kurt Angle's coming out. But what is this now? Charlotte is an 8-time women's champion now. Listen, I'm already convinced she is the new Ric Flair. I've said this many times before. That's pretty much what it is. She is the new Ric Flair, okay? They will make sure she even passes title reign. Forget John Cena passing 16, 21 times, however WWE wants to count the numbers. She will overpass Ric Flair's title reign soon enough, and I would not be surprised. It's gonna happen. She is Flair too, okay? And I'm just sitting here looking at this, and okay, like I am convinced of that. Like I can tell you that's gonna happen. They're just making her like the ultimate woman. And I'm sitting there wondering, and this is now, I'm sure, on everybody's mind right now. Okay, it's still technically, and let me say this here, they buried the entire SmackDown women's division. They are just buried now. They mean nothing, okay? They mean nothing at this point. Asuka will probably go into that whatever battle royale they'll do with the women, but that's not gonna mean nothing, okay? They have just buried this girl, and it's very bad, and it sucks. And at this point in the game, I know people say this a lot on the internet, but now I'm even kind of hoping she goes to AEW now, if this is gonna be the thing, because they have ruined this, okay? Listen, we're not surprised WWE ruins things anyways, okay? They mess up a lot of people they bring up from NXT, but this shit right here is just, I don't know. And I've said that about many people they bring up from NXT. They end up ruining them, okay? They've always done that, but the fact that they do a title match tonight and put the belt on Charlotte a week before Mania is just, I just don't understand. I didn't watch. It'll be some winner take all thing, because they never said the SmackDown title was on the line. They still have the Raw Championship on the line for the triple threat. Now, don't be surprised if WWE says in maybe the next few hours, tomorrow on Twitter, or maybe by next Monday on Raw, both titles will be on the line. Do not be surprised, and they're going to unify the belts and make them into one. Or everybody's saying right now Becky's going to hold both titles now, which may be the case and everything. Or, hey, for all I know, they could give Charlotte both the titles and make her look like a god up there, for all I know. Listen, this whole storyline is just so convoluted. If you remember what I said yesterday on the Raw review, I question this as the main event, and this just puts more questions in my head, and I just question it, okay? I don't get it. And I'm sure people are going right now, I'm sure Vince had something to do with this, of course. Or the idiots in creative, or the idiots they hired like Jeff Jarrett maybe, or Pritchard or whatever. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't at all. Don't be surprised, because you know someone had to do this, okay? And it's probably Vince. Most likely it's Vince. But this just makes literally no sense to me. I just sat there confused. I didn't believe it. I just didn't believe it, because I'm like, this is what you do. So what was the point of having Asuka beat Becky now in the Rumble, back at Royal Rumble now, if this was going to be the case coming in a week before Mania, and Becky's pretty much now in the main event now for Mania, okay? WWE is just pulling out all the stops they want with this, okay? ESPN, Media Day, everything. And it's like people said before, if Ronda Rousey was not in this company, the women would probably not be main eventing the show, and a lot of people could agree with that. And even somebody brought it up to me before, like I said yesterday, if Roman Reigns did not get sick and had to miss out for the next few months, he'd probably be main eventing WrestleMania again, for all we know. And don't be surprised, because they would have, okay? They just would have. But this right here, I was just shocked. And people just told me they changed the channel after they saw that. People literally told me they changed the channel right after Asuka lost the title, because it made no sense. Maybe they just want to make one women's division now, for all I care, instead of doing 2 championships on both shows, and we're just combining belts now. If they operate, it's going to most likely be that. If not, then what? If one title's on the line, then what? Is Becky just gonna have a title? Will have the Raw one? And I know people are already saying now all the 4 horsewomen are gonna stand all tall together at WrestleMania at the end of the show. Because if Charlotte and Becky retain their Charlotte. What am I saying, Charlotte? If Sasha and Bayley retain their championships and everything, and Becky just wins the Raw and Charlotte has the Smackdown one. Like I said, if that Smackdown belt is not on the line, then they're just gonna have all 4 of them stand tall together, all holding gold at the end of the night, being, I guess, the true 4 horsewomen of this company and everything. And maybe it'll be some 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen feud. Then if they bring Shayna Baszler up after NXT, I don't know about the other 2 girls, Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir. I've seen them in the ring on NXT, and they're still pretty green and everything. Having Team Ronda or something, it'll be some 4-on-4, and I'm just kind of somewhat booking ahead if that's going to be the case at whatever later date pay-per-view that's going to happen, okay? But that's how I'm looking at this right now if they do not have both championships on the line. But this is just very puzzling to what happened with Asuka. I don't really know what's next for Asuka at this point. I don't know. Her title reign wasn't really much. She was barely on TV. And the fact that WWE, like I said before, the fact that WWE announced a fatal 4-way to determine opponent in Mania is just ridiculous. Asuka's beating everybody. That's just the thing. She's beating everybody. I would have expected they would have threw her in a fatal 5-way with those 4 women in the fatal 4-way match. But WWE just had like, hey, change of plans. We are putting all our chips in the deck. Okay, we are just putting all the chips in the main event. They are relying on this thing now to be the greatest main event if they have to or something. If that's the case, okay? I've said it before, between this the first time ever and being great, okay? I've said that before. I don't know how this is gonna go, but the fact that now we have 2 championship belts in this, and don't be surprised if it's combined, this doesn't make sense, and you just buried Asuka in the meantime. And maybe people saw this coming. I don't know, okay? But like to me, this was just it was insanity to me. I just thought it was. AJ Styles in the back as he was talking about being Kurt Angle's final opponent on SmackDown, that he was honored. He's been part of his career. We're not going to mention their TNA feud because that's where these 2 had most of their greatest matches over there, okay? So there you go. But, that Angle laid the foundation and everything. But this is the house that AJ Styles built. Okay, this wasn't really a match, and I question now what they did with Joe and what they did with AJ here, okay? I really do question now what they did. And here's the thing. First off, they just put a collar and elbow, German suplex, tries to go for the Angle slam. AJ dodges it, hits the calf killer, which I almost thought Angle was about to tap, but Angle transitioned it into an ankle lock. AJ reversed it. Next thing you know, Randy Orton comes in, RKO on AJ Styles. Angle hits an Angle slam on Orton, which I don't blame Kurt Angle on this, as some people saying when he did the Angle slam, but I see some people now blaming Orton because I don't know if this was a misdirection or anything, but when Angle hit the Angle slam, I don't know if Randy was trying to fall too early, but I don't really think Angle lost his grip when he tried to do the Angle slam on him, but it just looked really botchy after that. And him and AJ just kind of shook hands. I'm surprised this was short. I didn't expect this to be like a TNA classic or everything, because this was pretty much another TNA rematch. If you want to see the better matches, it was in TNA. But I will say, before I get to that, I will say this. So we put on a full-length match with him and Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe loses clean, and he's the U.S. champion, right? But they protected AJ Styles right there because they know he's going against Randy Orton at WrestleMania. I want y'all to think about that for a second, okay? This was a DQ win. A DQ. Alright, well, a no contest technically. But Samoa Joe loses clean, and he's got to go against Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania for the U.S. champion, and you're making him just look like an idiot. Like, what is it, the third? I've said this yesterday. This is the 3rd loss in a row, I think. What was the first loss? Rey Mysterio. Second one, Kofi Kingston. 3rd one, Kurt Angle. Clean. What do we have here? AJ is protected. RKO. So there you go. But did I really expect a great match with Kurt Angle and AJ? Maybe. I've said this before. When I said this yesterday too. I think there's a difference between how they, I'm not saying it's all on Kurt Angle's age, but they have to work that WWE style of booking, and maybe that's why they just wanted the match short here instead of just have him go balls to the freaking wall and everything. And we know these two can go, and I've seen it. Okay, can go all the way back to 2008 in TNA from Slammiversary and oh yeah, the Hard Justice one, Genesis that was like in 2010. Sacrifice, if I remember, 2012, and the one I remember a lot, and this is when AJ was doing his dark gimmick in TNA. That was like my favorite version of AJ at the time, probably before Bullet Club one. But the whole Evil Ways AJ at Slammiversary 2013, that was a great match. I recommend everybody to go look at that one though. AJ Styles versus Kurt Angle Slammiversary 2013, okay? Because even I kind of expected this at least to be a good match. I just didn't expect it was going to go to short and these guys were just going to hit finishers on each other and just have an Orton interference, okay? I kind of expected that, but I just questioned why they would have Samoa Joe lose clean on Raw now if they were going to do a DQ finish next night with these two, and we know AJ and Kurt could, go, like I said before, ball to the freaking wall. They then went to Rey Mysterio and his son Dominic as, they're going to, I think Dominic said that Samoa Joe has no integrity or something. He's not like Kofi Kingston. We're going to hear a lot of Kofi Kingston tonight. He's not like him, and that his dad is going to beat Samoa Joe at WrestleMania. So, dude, why do I feel like Dominic would turn on him for some reason? I don't know why. I just thought about that. I don't know why, though. Or maybe Joe's going to attack Dominic. I don't know. But Miz came out. Was it Miz TV or was it to cut a promo? But he talked about Shane is lit up firing him that he didn't know existed. And, his time as a WrestleMania, and that, Shane brought the emotion out of him as he has experienced his 13-year career. And he wants to showcase everything that he could do to Shane McMahon by decimating him, which is going to be now a Falls Count Anywhere match, I believe he said. So, of course, you will see Shane do his crazy spots all over the place. He will do the crazy elbow from whatever high ledge or jump from a freaking helicopter or maybe the top of the top. Yeah, from the top of the building for all I know. But, excuse me. Yeah, Shane's going to do a jump. But next thing you know, Shane's music hit and everything. But a whole bunch of indie security guys came out. And next thing you know, Shelton Benjamin, which is back on Smackdown. One of the Cologne guys, how they still have a job in WWE to this day. I have no idea why they keep them hired. What do they do? Or this is one of the Colognes, but what do both of them do? What, be on main event? I don't even know how they still have a job. Sanity, who came back from the depth of whatever shadow they came from, are back on TV again. And I see Showtime Eric Young is back since he shaved his beard and everything off. So he almost looked like Showtime Eric Young again for some reason. And, I guess Shane finding anybody, which these guys are barely on TV. But Shane came out. He demanded that Greg Hamilton gave him a introduction with some conviction in it, being the best in the world. And he told Miz that the security are there for his benefit. They'd protect, Miz from Shane. And he talked about, pretty much putting up the picture of him beating up his dad again. And he watched it all over and over on every app he had on his phone. And he watched it because, it made him feel better about himself. And that, he just grabbing his dad's face and, it made him feel euphoric and everything. And now he has that thirst, that feeling now, everything he has. And that he said wish he could have beat him up some more. But the thing, he went on from there to say that he just kept looking at that picture because, his dad made the biggest mistake by impregnating his mother. This pretty much pissed Miz off. He beat up all the indie security guys and kicked Shelton in and just threw Primo or Epico or Whatico, or I think it was Primo though, and threw him wherever. Shelton tried to get him, but he threw Shelton into the turnbuckle on the outside of the ring. Sanity tried to attack. He pretty much beat the entire crap out of Sanity by himself. So Miz beat up Primo, Shelton Benjamin and all 3 members of Sanity there and kicked the crap out of them, okay? Which he just threw him over the timekeeper's area and just kept brawling with him until he got back, as Shane looked on and walked away then after that. So, I expected a Falls Count anywhere instead of having a regular match with these two. I'm still not really looking forward to this match, but I get it why they're doing it. Miz face seems to be winning over the crowd. Listen, Miz can cut a good promo, okay? I'm still don't buy the whole face Miz thing, but at least somewhat it's working. Heel Shane is still whatever here and there with me, so we know Shane can be a great heel, and this was good, kind of good with Miz, having all these guys, but by God, we're just pulling these guys from the gutter, though. I see Sanity barely on TV. Primo, I didn't even know he still worked here. Shelton Benjamin, we saw him on Raw, but still, I wish they did more with him. They talk about the Iconics, I guess, getting a title shot at WrestleMania now for the tag belts, but once again, this week, another gauntlet match. Big E and Woods versus a whole bunch of tag teams. Who's first? Gallows and Anderson. Buried, done in like under a minute. Just kick the crap out of them. Up, down, down. There you go. I wonder if what was it? 55 seconds it was. Under a minute. It was under a minute. They beat the Club, the Good Brothers, the whatever. I don't know. Send them back to Bullet Club in New Japan for all I care. I don't even know when their contracts come up at this point, which people were talking about at one point. I believe they come up this year, but even I wonder, are they leaving just for losing in under a minute? Are they? Because this was a squash. This was a squash. I know Gallows and Anderson are barely on TV to begin with, but this was like super squash mode. Okay, this was like under a minute squash. Next thing you know, Nakamura and Rusev came out, which this was not actually a really bad match. I will say that. But they pretty much hit the up, down, down on Nakamura for the win. I'm surprised Nakamura and Rusev are still a tag team anyways, with Lana being there. But as they went on, once again, it's very similar, almost mirror image of this gauntlet match and everything. You know why? Because throughout the back and throughout most of these matches, just like Kofi's last week, what do you see in the back? When Kofi was watching on the screen, who's standing right there, huh? Becky's right there. Rey Mysterio's right there. The Hardy Boys are right there. And it kept growing throughout the night as they kept watching. Because who was next? The Bar after that, which, that was a good match too. But, Woods won, pretty much rolling up Sheamus for the win. But then after that, they attacked Big E and Woods and put Big E through a table. And then more and more, you saw people showing up to watch the New Day's match then. Who do you see? Nikki Cross, which I guess is not associated with Sanity at this point, but came from wherever shadow she came from. You saw Truth back there. You saw Miz back there. You saw Kevin Owens. You saw Naomi. You saw Carmella. You saw Asuka. You saw Mustafa Ali, which I'm going to keep saying Mustafa Ali because I will say one thing. Whoever thought it was a good idea just to change his name to Ali, most likely Vince, that's retarded. I've said this about many people's names. They changed to either a first name or a last name. Alexander Rusev. Antonio Cesaro. Andrade Cien Almas Andrade. Several people. I could keep going on to why they've only had one name change. And why would you just go with Ali, huh? We can't just say Mustafa or just Mustafa. Just say Mustafa Ali. I'm not going to say Ali. I'm just going to keep calling him Mustafa Ali. Like, it's almost like with Almas. Like, Andrade Cien Almas, not just Andrade. Because every time I hear the word Ali now, is it Muhammad Ali coming out? Because it ain't him. I'm sure a lot of people think about that when they just say Ali and it's just Muhammad Ali or Ali, or you could say Ali Boombaye for all I know out there and everything. But they're going to associate that with Muhammad Ali. Why did they change his name? That was dumb. That was just it's just dumb, okay? Mustafa Ali should have just kept his name Mustafa Ali. Why Ali? I don't know. But like I said, there was this all these guys. I just showed up in the back, watching on the screens, supporting the New Day on and the winning, just like last week where everybody was supporting Kofi out there. Next was gonna be the Usos, but the Usos pretty much said, they told him to get up, but then they got the microphone and says, you know what? We went to war with you guys many times, but Kofi Kingston deserves this opportunity, and you've earned our respect, okay? Like, you earned ours also, and you earned the respect of the fans in the locker room, so they were going to forfeit the match, okay? So, yeah, because which is kind of weird. The Usos were back there last week anyway, also, when they were supporting Kofi and everything, so why would they be out here to face them, even though they were supporting the New Day last week when Kofi did the gauntlet match. All right, so why would they go against him now? But they still have a mutual respect because they've faced each other several times in the past, and they have not forgotten about that, and just face them. But as after that, Daniel Bryan was pissed that he started breaking everything in the back after what he saw. But then as they came back from commercial, the last team was going to be just like last week, except with Rowan this time. Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan out there. Last week it was Bryan. It's Bryan again, technically, again at the end this week. But I will say they did win the crowd over big time and everything. But as Daniel was getting frustrated, he pretty much told Rowan to clear the table and everything and knock it off and stuff. Woods had clotheslined Bryan to the ground, and him and Big E started beating the crap out of Rowan, and they threw him over the announce table with a big clothesline. Big E lifted the table over Eric Rowan, which pretty much ended in a count-out victory. So after that, Kofi came out, he celebrated and everything, and they celebrate in the ring. He's finally getting his title shot. Kofi Kingston is finally going to WrestleMania, okay? He's finally going to WrestleMania. Caleb Braxton pretty much interviewed Vince McMahon. What do you got to say? Is he going to WrestleMania? Vince says yes, but the question is, can a B-plus player beat Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania? Next thing you see the entire Smackdown locker room comes out to celebrate. All the face guys, Owens, Becky, Usos, Mustafa, Miz, anybody that's a face, they all come out and celebrate. Even Byron Saxton had to get up out of his seat and go celebrate with Kofi as they all surrounded the ring and the fans chanted Kofi, which I said they did win the fans over with this match because they were all really into it and going nuts for it also. I will give it that. But with now Kofi finally giving his title shot, they only now have at least 1 week of build with both of these guys, which I'm not saying 1 week of build throughout this entire thing, but now since it's finally official now for this match at WrestleMania, they only have pretty much in a way 1 week to build with the both of these two and everything. So I've said it, like I said earlier in the video, did we really need a gauntlet match again? Because this was literally mirror image. Almost everything was almost mirror image, okay? It really was, except it was a tag team this time, and most of it was kind of the same, all right? Of course, the New Day were going to get beat down sooner or later and everything. The only difference was like what the Usos forfeited and stuff, but there was many similarities from Kofi watching the screen in the back with all the other SmackDown locker room watching on supporting them, just like it was last week. It was again this week supporting Big E and Woods, and just like last week, Daniel Bryan was the last person in there, except he beat him. This week it was Bryan and Rowan, except the New Day actually won. So I don't know why we just couldn't have Kofi win last week, and we could at least build off both of these two in the final 2 weeks of the show. But we now only have 1 week left in the show, so they really got to come up with some really good go home shows next week for Raw and SmackDown, okay? Because some now people say that with the whole women's title now. So now that we have another championship involved in this, how are we gonna book that on the fly now? I've already said the whole women's thing is already overbooked as it is, anyways, and just convoluted. So this is just another thing to it. And even the New Day's thing is somewhat overbooked, but at least Kofi is finally going to WrestleMania. I will say this though, through all these hoops and jumps and everything they have done with Kofi and the New Day, he better win the fucking title at WrestleMania. He better win. I am hoping through all of this he wins. It's like someone even brought this up, and I know many people have said this before. I don't want to see another Triple H Booker T type of ending situation like it was years ago, okay? For all this thing of stacking the deck against Kofi and stuff, he has to win the championship. I've said this before because it's really top three matches at Mania, and that's the title matches, okay? And I even thought about this before. Seth and Becky, they've been champions before, okay? They have, and I know people want them to win too, but I'm really hoping Kofi wins because the man ain't never had a world title before. He ain't never been the champion, okay? So this is like, I'm hoping he wins, because some people really think all of them not going to win their titles at Mania anyways. We all know the 2 Royal Rumble winners, of course. We already know Becky and them in main event show, and we know it's going to be Seth versus Brock. I see a lot of people turning on Seth now, thinking Brock's going to win, or what I've been reading, but I'm hoping now Kofi will win this title, okay? Because I'll give them one thing. They gained a lot of sympathy for Kofi, and the crowd is 1000% on Kofi Kingston's side going into WrestleMania, okay? Like, this is like 1000%. But I didn't really think we needed to see another gauntlet match almost in the same type of thing of last week, okay? Now, as this show for Smackdown ended going to WrestleMania, in my part was maybe one of the worst things, but it just really questions me now of just burying Asuka. That was just buried to me, and I'm sure a lot of people thought that too. It was bullshit, and she was buried. I did not really need I'm just surprised they actually went through with this, and Charlotte just won the title again. So I will not be surprised if they put both women's championships on the line at WrestleMania. I know they did not say it tonight, and that the Raw one is still on the line, because if only one is on the line, then that pretty much tells me that Becky's gonna win it then, or maybe she'll win both titles for all I know. And they, like I said before, they're gonna combine the championships. But as for Asuka, they just murdered Asuka, okay? And she had no opponent going to WrestleMania to begin with, and then when we were almost on the verge of doing it, she was barely on TV. She literally had no build. I've said this for the past few weeks now, and you took the top 2 women on SmackDown and you had them fight for a Raw championship, okay? You had them fight for a Raw championship that you lead the SmackDown one pretty much won in the dust, that has literally no opponents because she's beaten them already, or do you put bad matches against her already, okay? So there you go. That is just the thing with that. I've already went on my rant about the whole Asuka thing, but it is just ridiculous to what I saw out there. But we know where this is going, and we know they're just gonna pull out all the stops for the main event of WrestleMania. Where does Asuka go? I have literally no idea. I got no freaking clue. And like I said before, it's most likely gonna be in the Battle Royale. The Miz and Shane promo was alright, I will say that. It's gonna be a false count anywhere, so there you go. Angle versus Styles was just very, very quick, so I don't know. I've already said the thing about, how they protected AJ, but, they pretty much kind of killed Joe out there and, just have him lose clean again, even though he's had the title for not that long and he's just lost to everybody. It just makes no sense, but we bring Orton out to protect them. Listen, I'm sure people want to see a classic, almost like a TNA rematch with these two. I would have loved to see that too, but I don't think WWE was going to give them enough time anyways for that. So it was very lackluster to see this, but hey, we gave him and Samoa Joe more time when they did that the night before on Raw. But like I said, just another one of these, I wouldn't say a strangest edition of SmackDown, but in a way just makes you feel very puzzled and confused going into WrestleMania. Some people believe they're not even walking into WrestleMania season right now, because they have not done a good job of booking a lot of this stuff, okay? And the shows have been mostly Raw has been garbage, okay? Raw has been just utter trash. SmackDown just was still somewhat bad, but it's still confusing and bad to what we've seen from this. So now they only have one more week, people. They have one more week until we get to Mania, okay? So they better, like I said for in the video, they better have some good go-home shows for all I know, okay? I don't know, because I'm looking forward to a lot of other shows than I am looking forward to WrestleMania. And what is this show, 8, 9, 10 hours? I'm going to need a lot of coffee throughout that day, okay? I'm looking more forward to, NXT TakeOver, I'm still calling it Brooklyn 5 for a reason, and the G1 Supercard on Saturday with ROH and NJPW, okay, New Japan. So, I don't know what we're going to expect from this. Expect more matches to be named off the fly and whatever, so we're going to see what happens, but I am done with this review. I just had a lot to say about this. Comment, subscribe. Tell me what you thought about SmackDown tonight, especially with this Asuka situation, okay? Tell me what you thought about this show. Follow me on Twitter at HoodedKnight890 or whatever. I have a lot of other things to work on, so we will see what comes from this, okay? Check out my Monday Night Raw review and leave a comment from that. Like, subscribe, whatever. Just do what you gotta do, and that's where we're gonna go on from here, okay? But I am out of here. I will see you guys later. Peace out. I got a lot of other stuff to talk about still, and it's gonna take some more videos than that. Peace.